we saw the tool Active Directory user and computer last time,
Yes, sir.
and the other tool is our DNS. So these two tools are most important in Active Directory, where we
Yes,
saw
sir.
this DNS. In today's session, we will try to transfer role from one domain controller to
To
other.
another.
So what I'll do, I'll create one more domain controller.
Okay, sir.
And in this domain controller, we will keep same 2022. So this one has 2022, and we will create one more 2022, assuming that the old hardware is super old, and we are moving from old hardware to the new hardware. So that's what happens a lot. It is possible that soon you will see a domain controller running on a physical computer or a virtual machine with older operating system. So in both cases, either older operating system or older hardware. We migrate from the older operating system or hardware to the newer one. So I'm deploying a new server, then we will connect it here. Let me start creating new virtual machine. And while this machine will be creating, we will do something more within the Active Directory. So this is DC02. Okay, so now in this, let me connect that machine here. Okay, so it's deploying on the other screen. Once it will be ready, then we will start moving on that. Let
Okay.
me do this. Okay, so first of all, to explore this, the intro question for DNS will be to know what's the meaning of MSDCS. So this MSDCS zone, this zone here, first of
Yes, sir.
all, this zone, they will ask about the name MSDCS. That's called Microsoft Domain Controller Service. So the actual full form of this is Microsoft Domain Controller Service. And if you'll check this, I'm right now here, right?
Yes,
Inside
sir.
MSDCS India.local.
Yes,
Which
sir.
type of records are here? Tell me the type of record.
Uh, SRV record
No, there is no SRV. It is SOA, Start of Authority.
NS and CNAME.
Right.
Name server.
NS and CNAME. So
Same.
we have two more records here. One is NS record, other one is CNAME record, or
Same.
we can call it as alias. Now, if I'll click on the next folder here in this structure, in this, once I click on DC and sites and this and then TCP, I'm going inside it. See this one? Which type of
Yes, sir.
record I have?
SRV record.
So keep expanding these folder and checking which type of record we have. See this? And then this one,
So
which record we have?
SRV.
And if I'll check this one, it's showing one host A record,
Yes, sir.
right? And within that, if I'll go inside, again I have SRV, right? Then inside this, again I have SRV. Within this, I have again SRV. So what's happening here? I saw only one A record here, just
Yes, sir.
one A record. And there is no A record anywhere else, just in the global catalog, GC. I'm getting one A record. So this zone, if someone will ask, what is MSDCS zone inside the DNS? Then you will say this zone is called Microsoft Domain Controller Service, and it contains DNS records for domain controller only. For domain controller, there is no record for other computers. You will never ever get other records in this
Yes, sir.
MSDCS. This zone is especially for Microsoft Domain Controller Services. So you will always get only domain controller related records. So that's the most important question about DNS. Then there's one more here, MSDCS. Once you click on this, you will see just NS record, right?
Yes,
So
yes, sir.
this Microsoft Domain Controller Service always contains just the domain controller related records. It will always show the domain controller. Now, remaining like this one, India.local. Inside that, you can see sites. This will
Yes, sir.
provide the site related information. That in which site. Right now it's showing default first site. This is the default first site.
Yes, sir.
So once we start to create more site like Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, it will automatically start to show more site inside it. So it will show you the site related information, that in which site, which server is global catalog, which server is there for Kerberos for authentication, which server is there for LDAP for lightweight directory access protocol to search inside the Active Directory database. So it will show you the name here in the data section, that which server is
Yes, sir.
responsible within this site. So such type of information is useful for all computer and users which are starting inside the computer, inside the domain. So once I'll turn on the computer, what happens with that? Whatever the DNS IP we have in primary and secondary DNS for network adapter,
Mm.
within the network adapter, it contacts those DNS and try to identify itself that where am I? Where am I in this Active Directory domain? In which site? In which site? And
Side.
according to that, it contacts the domain controller in that site. It never contacts other domain controller till it failed to authenticate or failed to find its own local domain controller. If local domain controller is down, then only this Active Directory site and service DNS zones redirect itself to other domain controllers. So as you can see, we have some more zones here, like forest DNS zone, and then the sites. We will see all sites here. So these zones are providing records of domain controllers. And within this forward lookup zone, only here, in this, we will get all devices. If I'll join any computer here, then I'll be able to see that computer here. So let me show you one example here. If I'll connect other domain controller, which is USA, this is right now USA in front of us. Now within the USA, if I'll open Active Directory user and computers, first of all, we will see all computers here. So we can see one computer is here with name helpdesk01,
Yes, sir.
and we'll get all domain controller here. So domain controller will be here, and all computers by default we will see here, either that workstation or that's any type of server other than domain controller. So if I'll open DNS now, in this case, DNS, then in forward lookup zone, once I click on USA.local, I'll see the workstation here. So in this place, it will show us all Windows computers, either that workstation or server with the record name A, A record.
Yes, sir.
Then comes the reverse lookup zone. It is always to resolve the name. Once we give the IP, it provides us the name. So it's the reverse one where we provide the IP and then gets the name of device. So you will never ever get this reverse lookup zone by default. You will have to create it. So right now we have the IP subnet 10.10.20 in the US. If we have some more subnet, then we'll have to add those subnets here. So I'll right click and add new zone, click next. I'll select the primary zone, and this one will be by default here, as you can see. So this one is showing store the zone in Active Directory. So it will store the DNS information inside the Active Directory database. So in this case, it's not creating separate database for DNS. It's using the Active Directory database for DNS. So it will store everything within the Active Directory database.
Yes, sir.
Now, there are two more options here. Primary zone, then secondary and stub
Secondary.
zone. Secondary zone is something when we create a copy of zone that exists on another server. This option helps balance the processing load of primary server and provide fault tolerance. So when we are creating secondary zone, it is not necessary to select a domain controller for DNS. It can be any member server. You'll just add the role. That's it. Any member server, once you add the DNS role, you can add secondary zone there to load balance the DNS queries. And further, it provides the fault tolerance. So you can choose secondary DNS. Now, once I'm selecting the secondary DNS, check this. It's gone.
Yes, sir.
Right? Why? Because member server has no Active Directory database. Only domain controller will show you that I have Active Directory database. So once you create secondary zone on a member server, you will never get this option to store within the directory service within the Active Directory database, because member server can't store this secondary zone. Even this is domain controller, it can't store this in the database. So we will always get just the primary zone in Active Directory database. Then the secondary zone will create its own database for the DNS, and it will keep replicating from the primary. It will be keep replicating from the primary, and it will also keep updating the primary. If I'll create any record in secondary zone, it will replicate back to the primary one. Then comes the stub zone. Stub zone will provide just few records. See, this creates a copy of a zone containing only name server, start of authority, and possibly some glue records. A server containing a stub zone is not authoritative for that zone. So it will be not authoritative. What's the meaning of authoritative here? It means it can't be the one which can authorize creation of records. It will be just providing start of authority, name server, and few glue record. Glue record comes when glue host a record, where it provides the records from the existing DNS server. It never creates its own. So first of all, name server, it means wherever I'll create the stub zone and point any computer to this stub zone, the server which is containing the stub zone, this will always redirect the query to other domain controller, because it has no A record, no A record for all devices, just few records of servers and only servers, which are domain controller. So it will always redirect to someone else. Now, here in our case, we are selecting these two, primary zone and store within the Active Directory database. I click next. Once I click next, it's showing option where this zone will store. So the first option is to miss the default option right now here is to all DNS server running on domain controller. So wherever the DNS server is, inside the domain controller, not in the member server, inside the domain controller, we can synchronize this zone in this domain, only in this domain. First option is in the forest. So it means wherever we have domain controller in whole forest, it will replicate this zone. And second one, to all domain controller in this domain for Windows 2000 compatibility. So this is for all domain controller in this domain. It is similar to this one, but it's just the domain controller, not the DNS server. If I have a domain controller which has no DNS server, it can't replicate there. It's just about the domain controller. Now, once I'll select the default option here, click next, it's asking for which type of zone it will be. Will that be IPv4 or IPv6? So we are selecting IPv4. Click next, and here to type the IPv4. So our subnet is 10. Let's say we have new zone. We have one zone which is already there, 10, 10, 20. We are adding 192.168.1 and click next. Allow secure dynamic update. It means it will first verify the device. If device is part of Active Directory, then only it will update the record inside DNS database for that device. Otherwise, it will reject such type of updates. So click and finish. Now you'll see one more zone is here, and by default we are saying start of authority and name server record. There is no A record or the PTR record right now. In reverse, we always get the PTR, but there is no PTR right now. Once we will add a device which has this IP subnet and which can communicate with the DC, then it will create the record automatically here. Then comes the conditional forwarder. Right now I added one record here as this one belongs to USA. This server, as you can see, this is the zone actual USA.local, and I added one conditional forwarder. Conditional forwarder says that if I have any domain with India.local, forward that query to this IP address. So if I am trying to find a computer, file server dot India dot local, so it will always contact this IP address to find the IP of file server, right? Because inside this database, there will be no record of file server of India.local because this is USA.local. So it can't provide IP address of file server running in India. So we will have to forward that query to other DNS server. And this is the conditional forward where we mention the condition. The condition is India.local. If something belongs to India.local, always forward that query to other IP address to find the IP of that device that we are trying to connect. So that's the conditional forwarder. So in this case, if I'll open here CMD and I'll type NS lookup and just hit enter. I can also type NS lookup space, then the device name like here Win2019, just the name, and it will return with the IP address of that device, right? If I'll type NS lookup Win2022, see, I just gave the name and it contacted other server. Here it's saying one line. See this one. Non-authoritative answer. It is not authoritative answer. It's not coming from the same server. It forwarded the query to different DNS server, and from there it got the name resolved with this IP. Right? So it forwarded the query. It failed to find Win2022 inside its own database. So it forwarded that query. In this case, it find this computer in its own DNS database. So it returned quickly with no message showing on the top here, just like this, right? So wherever NS lookup is returning something here like this, non-authoritative answer, it means it's coming from other DNS server. It's not coming from the directly connected DNS server. It's coming from other DNS server where it forwarded the query and then returned back. So if I'll show you something more, let me try if I can find it here. This side. Okay, let's do one thing. In your computer, open command prompt.
Okay, sir.
Now type nslookup space yahoo.com.
Yes, sir.
Is it showing non-authoritative answer?
Yes, sir.
Why? Because inside the DNS, the very first DNS of your network adapter, whatever the DNS you have in your network adapter, it failed to find yahoo.com. So it forwarded the query to next DNS server, and that DNS forwarded to the next DNS server. That keep happening till someone find the record of yahoo.com. So whenever result is coming, the answer is coming from other DNS servers, then not the direct DNS server, other DNS server, then it will always show you non-authoritative answer.
Yes, sir.
So this question can come when we get the non-authoritative answer in DNS query. It always coming from other DNS server, not directly connected DNS server.
Yes.
Okay, so check what we have here. That secondary server is almost ready. Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. It's really good.
Okay, so that's the domain controller, the new DC. Okay, that's a guy. Give me a minute.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Always keep learning.
Yes, sir.
Now in this one, let's try entering the password, capital DELL at 123. And now I'll join this computer. New domain. Before that, I'll have to perform some more activities, right? For any server, it is mandatory, first of all, to turn off IE's enhanced security configuration, to turn off for administrator. Then to enable remote desktop, to connect this computer remotely. Uncheck this one if you are connecting from old operating system. It never accept network level authentication. So just uncheck this. Other than that, the computer name, we'll have to change that computer name to, let's say, DC02. Okay, and okay to restart it. Now let's log in one more time. So this is right now brand new machine. It has no IP address. It's not part of this domain. So first of all, we will add IP and join this machine in domain like a normal computer.
Okay, sir.
Then after we will promote it as a domain controller. So what I'm going to do is to add the IP address first. So here, right click run ncpa.cpl, then to add the IP address. So we are going to join this machine in India, or let's say join in USA. Okay. So in USA, we have IP address 20, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's double check.
Yes,
If I'll move this here, so that's 10, 10, 20. So that's the IP address in USA. Let's expand this one, select USA, and we'll be able to see the IP address here, 10, 10, 20. So we are going to add the IP address 10, 10, 20.100, or let's keep it 11, right? 20.11. So that way we'll select, first of all, uncheck IPv6, select IPv4, and add the IP address here to 10.10.20.11. And the subnet mask will be of class A. Here we will have to add the DNS IP. The DNS IP should be the primary DNS server, the first domain controller, which is 10.10.20.10, right? Once we will promote this server as a domain controller, then we will have to start using its own IP address as primary and other DNS server as secondary. So it should talk to itself first. Now, right now it's talking to other server, as this will be right now just a member server to join in the domain. So we'll click OK. OK. Now we have IP address and we can run ping 10.10.20.10. We are getting response, right? So next is to join. So here we'll click on this workgroup here to change, and now to type the domain name usa.local. Click OK. Now to type the actual ID, the admin ID, which is USA admin, USA ADMIN, and here the password, capital DELL at 123. So click OK. It will join here. To click OK and OK one more time and close it to restart now. So it's automatically getting all policies when it restarted. Now we can log in using USA admin, USA ADMIN, and then the password, capital DELL at 123. So here we will verify if remote desktop is still active. This remote desktop that we configured, enabled the remote desktop, it is still active or not. So let's let it open the server manager. Now from the local server option on the left side, we will choose this remote desktop, and you can see it's showing enabled. Right now it is enabled. This one, remote desktop, it's enabled. So what I'll do, I'll minimize this one from here and connect this directly here in the remote session. So we can RDP from here, right? From this domain controller. If I'll type the IP address 10.10.20.11, I can connect it, right? Here, and the password DELL at 123. It will connect this machine directly here. Trying to secure the network communication, taking time. That it never take this much of time. Let's wait for it. There it is. Now we'll check this one and click yes. Responding slight slow. And here if I'll refresh, I can see this DC02 has a record, right?
Yes, sir.
20.11. So right now it is just a normal computer. Once it will be the domain controller, then we will see one more record here for NS. Right now it's showing Win2019. It will start to show DC02. So in this machine, that's the DC02, right? So now we will add a role. Click next. Role-based access. Select the DC. And from here, we'll select Active Directory Domain Services. And we'll click Add Feature so that it can add remaining features like these management tools, PowerShell module, all these things. We'll click Add Features. Click Next. See this, we are not selecting DNS server here, right?
Yes.
In the secondary DNS, in the secondary domain controller. So we'll click Next. Next, nothing else to add. It will automatically add whatever is required. Next and install. So right now it is installing role. It's not promoting it as a domain controller. It is still a member server. Right now it is still a member server. Even after once it will install this role, it will be member server till we configure the role. After adding the role, we will have to always configure it. So it will show us one link here to promote as domain controller. Then only it will add inside the DNS and in Active Directory database. Right now, if I'll check here inside the computer, it's showing one workstation here, helpdesk01. If I'll refresh, it will show me this server in computers. Right now, it's a normal member server. Once I'll add the role and promote it as a domain controller, it will move. It will move from here to the domain controllers. So let's check it here. Still adding. So now it's successfully completed. It added the role. And once it added the role, we can also see it showing here ADDS inside the server manager. And it's also showing promote this server to a domain controller. So we'll select this option. And here's the same window. Now it is to specify, add a domain controller to an existing domain, right? Because it is already part of USA.local. It is member server right now. So it automatically picked this domain, right? It picked the domain automatically because it is member of the same domain. So it picked the same domain and it picked the current user to join in this domain as a domain controller. So it will start the promotion from here. Click next. This is always mandatory to enter the Active Directory restore mode password. Either it's a brand new server or the other one. And further, you can see we didn't selected the role of DNS, but here it's selecting it automatically. So it will add the DNS in this computer. And this option is now highlighting for read-only domain controller. Last time it was not highlighting because we had just one domain controller. Now we have the second one and we can choose will that be read-only or writable. So we are not selecting this one. We will keep it writable. And here to select which site this server will be belongs to. If you have multiple sites, we can choose it from here.
Okay.
Now the password for Active Directory restore mode. So I'll keep the same DELL at 123, capital DELL at 123, and we'll click next. So here it's trying to find the DNS zone inside it, but there is no DNS zone right now inside it, so it will fail. But once the zone will be created after that DNS installation, that will start to respond again.
Sir, one query. One query. DSRM password is like a old server password, not new one.
DSRM is nothing related to old or new. It is for Active Directory restore mode. Whenever you are trying to restore the Active Directory from the backup. At that time, it will ask for that password. So you'll have to use that password at the time of Active Directory restored only. Otherwise, you don't need that password at all. Even I have seen environment, 10-year, 20-year-old environment of Active Directory, where they set the password 10 or 20 years back. Now they have a lot IT team changed in past 10, 20 years. Nobody know the Active Directory restored password. Nobody. But that's okay. We can reset that password anytime from any domain controller.
Yes, sir.
The utility is ntdsutil. That's the command line utility. ntdsutil. So you'll have to search this word, write down somewhere ntdsutil, and try to search in Google. Try finding all information related to ntdsutil, because this is very critical command in Active Directory to transfer Active Directory roles. And especially in case of domain controller failure, you will have to activate the role in other server. That's called seizing. AD role seizer. You have to seize role in other domain controller. Same utility will be used to seize the role. So where there will be no graphical interface. Graphical interface will not work if your primary DNS is, the primary domain controller is down, completely down. Then on secondary domain controller, you will have to use command line to activate those roles. Right now we are adding one domain controller, and then we will perform the role transfer. And we'll see we have two options to transfer roles or to seize the role. So one is graphical interface, second is this utility, ntdsutil. So possibly today we have 15 minutes more left. Within this, we will just prepare the domain controller, review a few more things, and in next session, we will transfer the role. So you have to watch everything carefully, and after this session, you'll have to search more about ntdsutil. That what the purpose of ntdsutil. There are a lot of things. It's not just for transferring the role. There are many more things. As I mentioned, also used for DSRM password reset. You can reset using that utility. So here, first of all, we are selecting replicate from any domain controller. We can also choose any domain controller from here. That from where to replicate. If we have a domain controller in the same network, you will choose that one to replicate Active Directory from there to this new server. You can also choose using the media, install from media. If you have created a media to copy the Active Directory database, then you can use that one too. Click next. Again, it's creating similar folder structure that we saw in the previous first domain controller. These two entities for Active Directory database and log files, and the sysvol for group policy. So click next. And next, that's the summary about this. And it will start this activity here. It will take few more minutes to verify everything and then start migration. So similar thing we can see here, it's showing the same algorithm, allow cryptographic algorithm compatible with Windows NT 4.0. The older algorithm, super old algorithm. It's showing that this will be still active there. If you want to change this to stop the weaker algorithm, then we will do, to open the domain controller policy and disable it from the security settings. Second is about the DNS zone. So soon it will create the DNS zone within this server. So everything will be good. So let's click next here. Here to click install. And it will start the process. So right now it's promoting this normal member server as a domain controller. So if I'll minimize this and try refreshing this page here, we are inside the domain controller. Right now it's showing Win2019. Once it will complete the process there, we will able to see one more DC here. And it will move from regular computer OU, the computer container, to the domain controller container. It's configuring everything. So it will copy the Active Directory database. It will copy group policies. It will create replication topology between the domain controllers. So it is ready and ready to restart. So within few seconds, it will restart automatically. There it is. Now, once it's restarting, let's refresh this page here. And we can see the DC02 is also here. And it's
Yes, sir.
moved from computer. Right now it's showing this one here. Let's refresh it. It moved from here to here as a domain controller. And it has GC. GC stands for global catalog. So it has global catalog, means both server has global catalog. Now, while it's restarting, let me show you something more here. Inside the C drive of any domain controller, Windows will type ntds and we'll see this folder. It has all these files, and this is the only file which has Active Directory database. It is the Active Directory database, ntds.dit. So in interview, they can ask you the path of database file and name of database file. ntds.dit. That's the file name. And
Yes, sir.
there are some more file. They can ask you what's the purpose of remaining file. Have you seen some more file there in the database folder? You'll say, yes, I have seen. There is one dit file, there is one temp file, some JRS files, some log files. These are the text file, log files, a check file, and EDB file, a temp EDB, then JFM file. So you can take the screenshot of this right now. Take the screenshot
Yes,
and
sir.
paste that screenshot in chat GPT. Ask for explain each file's role of each file. So that's your assignment for today. You
Yes,
have
sir.
to ask ChatGPT and then learn what all these files are for. This is very critical information to understand, and especially for your interview sessions
Okay,
for
sir.
Active Directory. Role of each file. Now, next is within the same Windows folder, we have sysvol. So if I'll open the sysvol, within the sysvol, there is one folder for domain, and
Yes, sir.
inside the domain, there is folder for policies. You will always get group policies here, right? Now,
Yes, sir.
let's connect that domain controller again.
Sir, one
Now,
question.
mhm,
Actually, what happened with me in my previous organization? I think
mhm,
one of my user left in the organization. They can delete the Active Directory, I think database file. So I can't restore the server. It's completely down.
mhm.
I
So
tried much more
there
time. Like
are,
I taking help of my colleagues who is like working
so
SCR
we
or
will do
Focus
same thing.
and
We will do same thing. So right now in
and
this,
what I am getting here, sir, like domain services, ADDS is services are down.
mhm,
This thing here coming and not able to access local Active Directory.
right.
Active
So
Directory
that
working in
that
server, but
happens.
I can't access like through RST. Uh,
Mhm,
can't join machine domain.
mhm. So the whole directory service was down. So
Yes, sir.
very first thing, very first thing is to follow the Microsoft instruction of keeping at least two domain controllers. If you have just one domain controller, then you are 100% dependent on the backup only. What backup? Full virtual machine backup. That's it. If it is virtual machine, if it is physical, then the full physical machine backup. Otherwise, you have nothing to recover.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, if you have two domain controller, then you have some extra facility, extra features here to restore the server. Let's check here. If I'm typing net dom QUERY DC, it will return with two names.
Yes, sir. DC02 and Bing 20.
Now, if I'll type FSMO, it will return with all roles, and all roles are right now in 2019.
19.
There's no role in DC02. Assume that 2019 is down. Someone deleted the whole virtual machine, not just the database. Deleted the whole server, the virtual machine.
Yes, sir.
So in this situation, you have others DAC, other domain controller, right? But that domain controller can't create object if first one is down. So it will have to replicate to the primary. Primary
Yes,
is
sir.
not nowhere active, and the roles are there. RID master, which helps to create security identifier. So
Yes, sir.
if we don't have security identifier active, we can't create anything, right? We need the RID master to get more RIDs to create the security identifier. Activity will stop. If PDC is down,
Yes, sir.
all computer will stop to get the time. It is time
Yes, sir.
server. It will fail to provide the group policy. Many more things will happen as these roles will be down. So we will have to build whole roles again in new server DC02, right? So we will check both options one by one. So today I'll show you a few more things here related to graphical interface. Then we will start from the command line. So in
Okay, sir.
graphical interface in this server, if I'll check tools and Active Directory user and computer, that's the first interface, very first
Yes, sir.
interface. Active Directory user and computer, where I'll click on domain, right click and select operation master. Here you can see, we can see domain wide roles, RID master, PDC
PDC
and
and
infrastructure, and it's showing
infrastructure.
option. See, here it's showing option to transfer, right? It's
Yes,
showing
sir.
option to transfer role. So let's say right now I want to transfer RID master role from 19 to the new DC02. I'll click change, and yes, that's it, done. It moved from 2019 to DC02. If I'll
Yes,
open
sir.
command prompt and run the same command again for query FSMO, now this time you can see
Yes, sir.
this one
Role has been
DC02,
transferred.
it has RID master. So that's the graphical interface we used, and we transferred just the RID master. Same thing we can do here for this PDC emulator, infrastructure master. So now all three domain wide roles moved from old DC to new DC.
Yes,
So
sir.
let's check. Just trying to find, taking time. Just wait for it. There it is. So domain wide roles transferred. Next is forest wide role, schema master and domain naming master. So the schema master is something we'll check next, but first we will check domain naming master. You can see the domain naming master in other tool, which is tools, Active Directory, domain and trust.
Yes, sir.
So in this, once you click here on the top, not on the domain, on the top, once you right click, you will see operation master.
Yes, sir.
And here, same thing, we will change the role, let's transfer the role using that change button. Click yes and OK. Now it's moved from 19 to here.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
run the same command again. We will see that domain naming master moved from 19 to DC02. Now the last one. This last one we can't see in any tool. The last one we can't see in any tool. The schema master. So
Yes,
for
sir.
that we will have to run a command. Command is reg
reg sbr
svr32
32 sc
and then
hm20
schm
mgmt
oh schm mg
mt
mt
dot dll.
dot dll. That's good. Now we can see it registered.
Yes,
Now
sir.
we click OK. Tools are not in there. Here, right click and
mmc.
run mmc.
See.
Then file, add new snap in, and we'll select this one. That's the schema master. We'll add it. Click OK. Click on this once and then right click for operation master. So here it's showing 19, 19 both places. So we can transfer it, right? So
Yes, sir.
in this case, first of all, we'll have to right click here, change domain controller. So change Active Directory domain controller.
Controller.
We'll select the DC02. We'll have to connect the computer. Same thing we'll have
Okay,
to
sir.
do in the command line.
Okay,
Once we
sir.
use the command line, we'll have to connect the DC through the command. So once we connect, click OK, and then right click and operation master. Now we'll see the DC02 here, right?
Yes, sir.
So click change, yes, OK, and you can see it transferred.
Yes,
So
sir.
we used the graphical interface today to
Yes, sir.
transfer these roles, right? So here all roles transferred from old server to the new server. Now we can plan decommission for the old server, right? So tomorrow we will perform the same activities again. And
Yes, sir.
right now all roles are in DC02. We will transfer these roles through command line to
Good, sir.
2019 again.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so again we'll transfer, just the transfer.